Hey, welcome back, golf enthusiasts. Thanks for joining us again. My name is Tom Howell, 17-year teaching professional and certified personal coach with Golf Tech. Coming at you live here from with our friends here at mahalo.com. We're going to talk a little bit about putting here today. It's something that's often overlooked, but if you're going to be a better golfer and score better, you got to get the flat stick working. Okay? At the end of the day, you're measured by your score, not your outfit, not how beautiful of a swing you have, not what color your golf bag is, but what you shoot. I do hundreds of golf lessons a month, and so many times people want to come in and they just want to work on the driver and they want to work on hitting the golf ball better. And I get that. I really do. I love hitting good golf shots. But at the end of the day, you got to get the ball in the hole. And there's one club that you're almost guaranteed to use in every single hole. That's the flat stick. All right. So we're going to pan out down in here and talk a little bit about the way that we hold the golf club and some fundamental truths of setup. We've heard some things like we want to create a pendulum stroke, and a pendulum stroke referring to the shoulders doing all the work, creating a true pendulum type of putting stroke where maybe it's a little bit of an arc, maybe it's straight back, straight through. I'm a big believer in a pendulum stroke because it eliminates excess moving parts. But before you actually get into a pendulum putting, create a pendulum putting stroke, you've got to set up properly and you've got to, again, hold the golf club properly. So as we look at the top left-hand portion of your screen, we'll talk a little bit about the grip. Now, gripping the golf club with a putter and gripping a regular golf club is not the same thing. We don't necessarily want to have an interlocking grip or a strong or weak or neutral grip like you would when you're holding a golf club. Holding a putter is actually extremely the opposite. You actually want to hold the putter more into the palm of the hands. Holding the putter into the palm of the hands helps eliminate excess wrist movement, therefore helping you truly build that pendulum putting stroke, which is much more of a shoulder-driven stroke. So we're going to hold, kind of, if you kind of squeeze your thumb and your hand together a little bit, you'll see where you create a little bit of a lifeline right here in the hand. That's going to be holding it more in the hand. So you want to kind of line that lifeline up with the grip and then get your fingers wrapped around it. And keep in mind that right here, this area right here, you may have a little bit of space between your pinky finger and the butt end of the grip. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. Because again, we're taking the wrists out of play. Now, another important aspect is to make sure that the palms kind of are parallel or facing each other as you set up. And I'll get on the front view here. As I grip the putter down more into the lifeline of the palm of the left hand to get my fingers around, you'll notice that puts the thumb right straight down the putting grip. This is huge, and it's going to keep the back of the left hand relatively flat compared to the left forearm. Now, as you bring the right hand in, there's a few different ways that we can actually introduce the right hand and interlock or overlap or what we want to do. An extremely common putter grip is to where the index finger of the left hand is actually going to come off the club for a moment while I get the right hand on the golf club and have that index finger overlapping the knuckles of the fingers of the right hand. But again, making sure that when you get the right hand on the golf club, I'm still getting it down into the palm a little bit more. So I'm going to have my palms facing each other, and I just so happen I like to overlap two of my fingers here, the two fingers, index and middle finger of the left hand, and I prefer to overlap them like so. And as you get your hands on there and ground the putter head behind the ball, you want to make sure, and I'll get lined up properly here, you want to make sure that you get that putter face square to your intended line. Once you have your hands in the putter face, hands on the club properly in the palms, and you get the club face square to your intended target line, this is where we work on the setup a little bit more with the feet and the shoulders. We're not going to get a super wide setup like a driver. We don't want to get too narrow. A good baseline to start off with is to get the feet maybe just a little bit less than shoulder width apart. Ball position, now the ball position is quite important. We want to position the ball a little bit more towards the front of the stance or actually getting it underneath the left eye. If you come and see us at Golf Tech, we'll show you some cool little exercises you can do to check where your ball position is and how to build a putting station. But that setup is going to be maybe a little bit less than shoulder width. As you grip, either overlapping with an index finger or maybe two fingers, ground that putter behind the golf ball and we get that grip. Now what I'm going to do is I can either connect my arms or my torso, and I strongly encourage for all your amateurs out there that are having a hard time controlling your putts to get your elbows and actually take your arms and kind of hug your ribs a little bit with your elbows right here. That's going to get your arms connected to your torso. And as you set up, we're going to be bending forward at the waist. Knees are going to be slightly flexed, and the hands at this point are going to be hanging almost directly underneath the shoulders. Now I'm in a true pendulum type of setup. elbows hugging ribs, hands underneath the shoulders. Now I can really just use my shoulders to create more of a rocking motion. Now, is this going to be a straight back, straight through motion? Is it going to be a slightly arcing, back to square, back around? I don't know. I don't know. There's 5 different putting strokes out there on the PGA Tour. You've got your straight back, your straight through. You've got a little bit of an inside, back to square, back to inside traditional arc. You've got an inside down the line. You've got an inside out stroke, which produces more of a hook. And there's even some great players out there that have a little bit of a take it straight back and have a little bit of a loop and cutting motion. I'll do it on the side view here. They tend to kind of take it back and almost kind of come over the top and cut their putts a little bit. The thing that's most important about putting were really 2 things. Number 1, confidence. How do you get confident? Practice the right way. Come see me. I'll help you out with that. But it's also about making sure that you get the putter face square to your intended target line. What length of stroke and what path and what type of putter and all these different aspects. These are some things that I'm more than happy to discuss with either myself or one of our other certified personal coaches here at Golf Tech. You can visit us at www.golftech.com, and if you want to see some other segments here, send in a request to requests@mahalo.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you very, very soon. But before we leave, let's head on over to the putting green. I'll show you a little bit of action. Okay, so we already talked about the grip, so I'm stepping into the putting. And notice before I even really get my feet set, I'm grounding the putter on the ground and aiming it where I want the ball to go. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my feet set. Now, I want to have my eyes relatively over top of the ball. A way we can test this out is this ball's going to go flying everywhere, but you put a quarter or something down there, a coin or something down there when you're lining up, and take another ball and put it right between your eyes and drop it. Land right on top of the other ball. It must be my eyes are in a pretty decent position. So you can do, that's just a quick little ball drop drill. So again, we've already got the grip in here. It's in the palms, not in the fingers. I'm just a double overlap type of a guy, so I'm going to step in with my putter behind. Go ahead and get my feet set. I'm reasonably wide with my stance. Hands are going to be underneath the shoulders. And as I said earlier before to you amateurs at home, I'd like to see you hugging your ribs a little bit to create a more connected stroke back and through, to create a true pendulum motion. If you think of your body like a grandfather clock, your head, your chest, your legs, your hips, your knees, everything stays real, real stable. But the shoulders, arms, hands, and putter, that's the actual pendulum. And a pendulum and a grandfather clock does one thing. Tick, tock, baby. Straight back, straight through, or inside to square to inside, or inside down the line. I don't care. It doesn't really matter what your putting path is, as long as your putter face is square to your intended target line at impact. That's the important thing. So square it up to start with. Get your feet set, eyes relatively over the ball, hands underneath the shoulders, hug the ribs, and then make the stroke. Tick, tock. There was another ball in the hole, I promise. Okay, so we just came back from the putting green, talked a little bit about those paths and how to get the ball into the hole, and a little bit of a setup station or putting station. Thanks for joining us again. Again, if you want to get a little bit more one-on-one aspect, visit us at golftech.com. My name is Tom Howell. You can find me at the Santa Monica, California location. And if you want to see a little bit more about the how-tos as it pertains to golf, or maybe even something else, send a request to requests@mahalo.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon.